What does your digital portfolio usually consist of?
At NBC Sports, you mean?
In depth for the digital media and design students.
Sure. Before I answer, let's hear from Gina also, because she's going to kind of give you the perspective of what companies are looking for, and you're going to see that pretty much what we say is what she's going to say as well.
I hope. No, what I was just going to say, when you asked about the portfolio, what I should have said earlier also is that any links to work that you've already produced and anything that shows us your ability, I would also recommend to put on your resume. And I'll use a specific example. We actually just hired someone from the program specifically because he was proficient in After Effects and he had a ton of other great qualifications and things that made him the perfect candidate. But things like that, like getting on the systems and actually getting out there and producing. So if, like, let's say you're studying graphic design and that's your concentration, as much as you can put together on a website and link to your profile, we're looking for that. But I'd say After Effects is big for us because we use it so much, specifically in our graphics department. And I'd also say with NBCSports.com, as much as you know about actual like content management or HTML or CSS, all the languages that you computer languages that you can become proficient with, the better. Does that kind of lead into what you were going to say?
What she said. But we have students here, so what are you hearing in your classes?
One of the biggest things, one thing that I was actually introduced to at the beginning of the semester was WordPress. We've actually been uploading a lot of our projects to WordPress sites that we've made, and we've been using those as ways to collect and just keep all of our projects online. So we've been slowly making our digital portfolios that way to start. I hadn't really done anything before this semester like that, so that was pretty new to me. So we've been doing just pretty much adding those projects that we're doing in class onto our WordPresses. So.
Hi. So just like what Kirk was saying, if you don't have a digital portfolio set up, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. So I'm in the web design class, and so far, I went in this semester knowing nothing about web design, and Adam is a really great professor. He's in the back there. So far we've done like 2 demo websites, and we'll do like Code Academy is a program that we've been using to, keep up with the work as well as in class. So that helps with out of class stuff. And whatever you work on in class, even if it's not, like the best thing, you can still add it in because it shows that you have learned something. So that's just a place to start.
And through a 4-year program, think of how much work you're going to have. So you'll aggregate it all in this space, and then toward the end, you'll develop your personal brand. The website that expresses who you are, and Gina also talked a little bit about that, and you'll select the pieces that are most resonant for the area that you'd like to be in, and they'll be on that space, so when you meet with recruiters, you can look at that site with them, or you can send them to that site, and then if they want to know more, you can pull other things forward later down the road.
Another piggyback off of that, as Tim's saying, with that at the end of the year. So the biggest thing is the progress. You might start off with a really bad looking website, but at least you got something done. At least the link is functioning. That's a big plus. So at the end, the progress is what, it's really it's a great accomplishment to just go back and look. You start off with one link, and now at the end you're making like 6 or 7 different links, and they all work, which is the point. So that's one of the big things for me. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. What aspects would you be looking for in
The question is, what aspects are we looking for in prospective students? This past weekend, we had open house up at UConn. We had 142 people up. And I was asked that question probably 40 times. And the answer to that is that we don't have a model. One of the things we really like about this program is the diversity and the encouragement of diversity, cultural, social diversity, intellectual diversity, creative diversity. So many programs say, we want you to have this GPA, this score, have them take these classes, study these things, and everybody is kind of the same when they finish that plan of study. We kind of blew that model up, and we said, each of you will come in, you'll have your own plan of study, you'll pursue that plan of study through the program so that your unique personality expresses itself in its work, and you'll come out the other end being uniquely who you are. So we actually look for great diversity. And the way we do that is when you apply to the program, we ask you for certain things. We want to see things you've made, maybe a poem you've written if you like to write, or writing samples, creative work if you've done that, video or film work if you've done that, music that you've composed, anything that, algorithms that you've written, programming that you've done, game design you've done, game scripting that you've done. We'll look at anything. And then we ask you for a 60-second self-made video. You hold up your personal device and you talk to it, or you hold it in the mirror, and some of them are pretty great. We're looking for you to express your personality. We don't want you to be like anybody else. We want you to be you, and we're looking for a broad array of folks, and that's how we build our cohort. So if you look at the class of students that are here right now, great diversity. And we think that's important because, as others have mentioned, we put you together to work in teams so that you understand how to work in a team. You know, if you work at NBC Sports or places like that, you have to be part of a team, which means you're not talking all the time. You're listening. You're listening to what's said. You're listening to what isn't said. You're watching how people react and how they respond, and you take that in, and then you build your response from that. And so through that kind of learning and through that diversity of student, you have this tremendous experience. So it's not a dodge. I'm not trying to get away from saying, you have to fit this box. What I'm saying is forget about the box. Be you. Send us who you are. Let us see who you are. Express yourself. And the whole time that you're here, we're going to work with you to refine how you express yourself so that each of you has a personal expression. So when you meet recruiters and they meet 10 of you, there's 10 different people there. And that's the beauty, I think, of part of what we're doing here.
Any other questions?
Loud. So if I were to send in my reel to NBC Sports, people have different theories on what a reel should be like. Does NBC prefer a like no music, it's breakdown, like this is what I've done in each shot, or do you prefer sort of like that montage music video that like pumps the people up? Like, what do you prefer?
I think this is not going to be a direct answer again, like your last question, but it depends on your audience. So NBC Sports might be a little bit different than some of our other properties, like let's say Bravo, which may want that montage more so than maybe something that's more focused on sports, and sports video is a little bit different than like entertainment video. So knowing your audience is really important. So there's no one answer to that. And I think that goes for everything that you submit. Know who you're submitting it to, and know that you're kind of trying to sell yourself to the employer, and you want to show them that you are someone that they want to bring into their family. So the answer is, it can be any combination of those, but what I will say is most important is that you let us know what you contributed to the video, because sometimes you work in teams on these videos, or you wrote the scripts but you didn't actually shoot, and maybe you don't have experience with DSLR, but we are going to hire you because we saw your reel and we think you do, and then we put you in a situation where you're not prepared. So what's most important is that you tell us which parts of that compilation are to your credit and which aren't, because it'll help us understand what's the best fit. Because the other thing is, we're not trying to test anyone in an interview. It's really to figure out where you're going to be a fit, because there's so many opportunities under the NBC Sports umbrella, under the NBC Universal umbrella, that are looking for all different qualifications and skill sets. So really just being upfront about what you have the ability to do and what is your work is the most important. So if that means underneath each, like if you have a Vimeo page, do you have one of those? Or something like that, just telling us which parts of those videos, are yours is important.
Hi, Tim, I guess this is for you. How do you deal with and this is so great to hear about the internships from NBC in Stamford with all the students up at stores. How do you handle the internship requirement, do you have like a robust internship program up there as well?
We do have it up there as well. Couple ways we manage it. First of all, our faculty advise the students on a really regular basis. So, and by that I mean it's mandatory that they meet with faculty at least once each semester to put together curriculum. But in fact, what happens is a dialogue starts between students and faculty, and we're talking to them almost every day. You know, Matthew and I were joking earlier today that, you know, depending upon where your office is, you're going to see all your students 2 or 3 times in a day. So, you know, guidance comes from that area and that kind of interaction. The requirement of internships, we build it into the curriculum. So we'll say, okay, you're going to be a sophomore next year. Have you thought about what you'd like to be doing in terms of an internship? And we'll start that dialogue in the freshman year. And we start to point you toward areas and opportunities. On our website, for the students, we have a tab that says internships. Click on the tab, and we were just showing it to the students here earlier today. Click on the tab, go and enter your student ID, and we have a little over 200 paid internships listed right now on that site. So it's a resource, and students click on the hyperlink. It brings up what the opportunity is, what they're looking for. There's an application. It talks about, you know, what the pay is and what the expectations are. So we mine a lot of opportunities for the students. So it's not like, hey, go find an internship, good luck. You know, we're really trying to help. And, you know, fortunately we have people like Gina and Matthew have worked together to mine this, and this hopefully will grow and become more over time if it works nicely for NBC. So we'll be adding more, but there is a process. The faculty is engaged in the process. The fact is, once the students know about it, it's off to the races. You know, they're always looking at it. And every Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning, we send a reminder to the students to check the website because it changes so frequently. Some are filled, so they come off of there. Others are added, and they go on.
Any other questions?
For the students that are interested here, you have students sitting here. Ask them, what's it like to be a student in the program? You know, what do they like? What don't they like? What's hard? What's fun? You know, maybe you could talk a little bit about, you know, what you're enjoying or what you dream for, what you're looking for, you know, those kinds of things, and start that down. Because how often do you get to sit with real students and ask them that question?
Well, I'll just note that one of my favorite parts of the program here is actually the laboratory. You know, it's all like new Mac computers, and on each computer, you know, they all have licenses for all the Adobe programs. So when I'm in the lab, I really feel like totally empowered, like I can make anything I want because all the tools are right in front of me. And all I have to do is like teach myself or get taught how to use each one. And you know, I started the program last semester with a 2D animation class, and we used Adobe After Effects, and I literally fell in love with it. I thought it was so much fun, and you know, the final project that we made in it, we had to like take an existing movie trailer that you might see, you know, on TV, like a commercial, and take the cards. They're called cards. You know, the parts where it says like "in a world," and then like dot dot dot, and then show some footage and like one man. And we had to take those cards and redo them in our own way. And when I did that, I was just like, you know, I personally thought mine came out pretty good. So. I was just like, this is so awesome, and it was just because all the tools are right in front of you, and all you have to know is how to use it, and you can literally create masterpieces. So, yeah.
Okay, so I think one of my favorite parts, again, Kirk just said all the tools are there for you, you just have to use them. My favorite part is that the lab is so accessible. Even if you're not in class, you can go in any time of the day. You know, if you have a break in between classes, an hour and a half, or even half an hour, just go in, work on what you need to, and just leave. And, you know, it's just, I've been in there a lot this semester. You know, I'll just go in and hide myself in there so nobody knows where I am, and I'm just over here like coding for the web design class, trying to get everything together. So I think that's my favorite part, is the accessibility and the fact that all our professors are actually really helpful in that. Like Matt's office is up there, so if I have a quick question, I could just run over and be like, hey, Matt, do you know how to do this? And he'll be like, okay, Aram, yeah, this is what you do. And emailing them is easier as well, so I think that's my favorite part, the accessibility and the fact that the program is really coming together, and we get to be a part of that. So.
So I really love the fact that we are next to restaurants. I love food, so that's one big thing about me. But on a serious note, I really fell in love with this program because of the fact that if you look around, there are tons of openings for creatives, and I feel that me coming to the school really opens a lot of doors for myself. As you know, I want to be somebody who creates something in the long run, and I want to be somebody who changes the world with the ideas and the thoughts that I have. I'm a sophomore, and I've, throughout this whole college career, I've landed 3 jobs in graphic design, and I feel like without this program and without this school, I would never have had those opportunities. And it's an eye-opener for my peers around me and everybody else that you can go to this school that's like right next to New York, but not in New York, learn and have fun, and become the person that you want to become, all from this one campus. So that's the plus that I like about this college.
I would also like to add, give a shout out to the professors, Matt Warwood and Adam Scott. Those are so far, and
Bill.
Well,
Bill.
I haven't personally had Bill, but Bill too, and also Harry Horovis, who I had last semester. The professors that they hire for this program are just the coolest ever, and they make learning like so much fun that you just there's never a day that you want to skip school. You always want to come in because it's so much fun. So I just want to give a shout out to you guys because you guys make it really fun.
On that point, all of our faculty come from the professional world. They're people who have worked and continue to work. So they're very aware of what's happening out there and what the needs are. And we're really proud of that because they've all been leaders in their areas. So they've had big teams of people that they've worked with, which means you mentor people on a regular basis. So you've got sort of cutting edge people teaching a cutting edge kind of curriculum, and we get awesome students. None of them are the same, and so they each have a different point of view. So it's like a great kind of band, if you will. Imagine putting together a band, and everybody plays a different instrument, they make a different sound, but they play to the same rhythm, and they're all kind of heading the same direction. And for us, that's really exciting. And I also am just really proud to work with such a terrific faculty. And I think the program here, as well as it goes forward, is just going to add more and more of that.
I'll also add from the employer perspective, I have been working with Matt now for 2 semesters that we've been hiring. And not only do we talk about, when are the postings going up, but he calls me about specific students and advocates for them and knows what their strengths are, and we work together. And I don't have that relationship with every school. So it's a really, it's great for the students that are pursuing opportunities with us, because not only is their resume going to be, a marketing tool and something that's going to speak on their behalf, but so is Matt. So he actually got mad at me about the GPA requirement the other day because he was so passionate about, getting his students in there, and 1 or 2 of them weren't necessarily there yet. So having professors that are so invested, I can say from an employer's perspective, is also really great for us, because it's easy for us to identify top talent because we have people sort of, speaking for them and speaking up for them.
Just a quick question for the 3 students. If you've taken the internships already, how much of a burden or lack of a burden has that put on either the internship or your schoolwork to maintain, the quality that you want to have in your education?
Well, I have not taken an internship. The jobs that I have taken are actually part-time jobs and freelance jobs. And I can say that the courses that are here at UConn allows, it's like you take morning courses and you take afternoon courses. So there's a gap in between where you can leave, go down the street, work, come back, have time to study, have time to eat, and then go back to class. And then after it's like the school is actually it's created around the fact that you can work and come to school and just balance two things at one time, and it's not stressful, and it's very fun, keeps me on my feet, keeps me active, and that's how I manage it.
I haven't had any internship experience either, but I have also been working. I work part-time. I actually work on campus, so for me it works out really great. I'll go to class, I'll head to work for a few hours, and then I'll go to class again, or I'll start the day off working, and it just works out well. You have to find a good balance, and as a freshman, it might be a little difficult because you're fresh out of high school, so everything is new to you, and that's just something you learn along the way. That's the whole point of it. You're growing up. Mom and dad are not going to be there for the rest of your next 4 years, so you have to figure it out, and it helps you grow as a person. But honestly, from my perspective, it wasn't really that hard because the workload it's a little difficult because it's different, but you learn it and you pick it up, so it's a good transition for me.
I as well have not done an internship, but I do work part-time, with school, and that's the benefit of going to a commuter university like UConn, Stanford, is that you get the best of both worlds. You get to go to school and work towards your degree while you can still, after school's over, go home or go to work and still make a living so you can pay for, anything that you want. I mean, usually it's gas and food, the necessities, but you still have, a couple extra dollars, in your bank account to do whatever you want. And, that's an advantage over, some of the students at stores who may not be working because they can't get a job on campus or can't get a job off campus. So they may be spending the money that they have in their bank accounts on food and stuff like that, and just slowly chipping away and diminishing their bank account, but there's nothing going back in. So the benefit is, yes, maybe there's more stress, if that, on your schedule, but you get you get the work experience, and even if it's not an internship, you still have money in your bank account to pay for necessities. So.